The original Thief was a landmark in stealth gaming, a classic of the genre that would influence stealth games and stealth systems for years to come. If you've played a stealth-focused video game released in the last 20 years, there's a good chance you can find Thief's DNA in it. Although, as good as the original Thief was, it was not without its shortcomings. And so, after the release of Thief the Dark Project, developer Looking Glass would dive headfirst into its sequel, with the goal of building upon everything that worked the first time around and discarding everything that didn't. And in early 2000, Thief 2 The Metal Age was released to much fanfare. Thief 1 is certainly beloved, but Thief 2 is considered the pinnacle of the series, with many who would argue that it is one of the greatest, if not the greatest stealth action video games of all time. However, 20 years after release, does Thief 2 still hold up as well as you remember, or is nostalgia clouding your vision? Hey guys, I'm Kirk, and in today's video we are looking back at Thief 2 The Metal Age to see if it's really the sequel everyone claims it to be. And since this was my first time playing, expect some fresh opinions on this one. But before all of that, please remember to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one digging into gaming's past. Alright, let's get sneaking.
Wasn't that long ago that I was planning on my retirement. Now the only thing that's getting retired is my standards.
Thief 2 picks up shortly after the end of the original game. You once again play as the lovable Garrett, the smooth-talking master thief with a heart of gold. Garrett has defeated the demonic trickster from the first game and saved his city from certain doom, but unfortunately, not everything worked out for the best. A new sheriff has been cracking down hard on the city's criminal element, and Garrett has found himself struggling to make ends meet. All the while, a new religious group called the Mechanists have been gaining power in the city, with their state-of-the-art steam-powered innovations. However, behind all of this technological progress lies a sinister plot that Garrett finds himself in the middle of.
All I have to do is choose a way in, plan my route, and get back out, without alerting the bulls.
Thief 2 is a first-person, stealth-action, immersive sim, meaning that the player has total agency in how they interact with the systems of the game to accomplish their missions. You can approach a mission like a total ghost, or slaughter and rampage like a maniac. As long as you meet the requirements of your objectives, there's really no right or wrong way to play the game. Thief 2 plays identically to the first game, which is a good thing. Looking Glass really nailed the mechanics the first time around. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's still all about keeping to the shadows, using the light crystal as your guide, making sure you don't make too much noise to tip off the guards, and employing a variety of gadgets to get the job done.
Okay, I'm coming. Give it
Enemy AI remains strong, but is still a bit touchy, like when you step on the tiniest strip of loud metal and somehow a guard a full floor above you is able to hear it.
What noise there? It softly calls.
But these polygonal peons behave just realistic enough to keep the immersion and just dumb enough to keep the game fun. Yeah, this strategy didn't work. Garrett's arsenal from the first game makes a return. A sword and bow for killing, a blackjack for sleepy time, moss arrows for sneaky time, water arrows for darkness, fire arrows for blowing stuff up, and of course rope arrows, sometimes vine arrows, for climbing at the player's discretion. New gadgets include a spy globe, which helps you scout around corners or wherever you need your eyes to be, as well as proximity mines, which come in the gas and flash varieties, which are great for unexpected enemies, as well as explosive ones, which are good against the new mechanical foes. Very effective, but also very loud. Pro tip, shoot a couple water arrows at that little red square right there and you're good to go. Indeed, technology is Garrett's newest foe, as you'll also be contending with the mechanical watchers. Get caught in their view long enough and they'll trigger an alarm alerting everyone to your presence. The new gadgets and mechanical menaces are welcome additions to the game's formula, but where Thief 2 makes its biggest improvements compared to the original is in its level design. See, because Thief 1 was such a new type of gameplay experience, Looking Glass wasn't totally sure what types of scenarios they wanted to create for the player, and so its missions largely feel like experiments, throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. The end result were the classic stealth robbery missions, which players loved, but also exploration-heavy, monster-infested Tomb Raider missions where stealth took a back seat, which players were pretty critical of, me included. So, listening to the critical and fan response of the first game, Looking Glass went into Thief 2 with a laser focus on what they knew their players wanted, and the result was 15 stealth-focused missions that take Garrett into every quarter of the city's urban sprawl. At first blush, the locations of Thief 2's missions can seem fairly straightforward and even a bit mundane. Estates of the upper class, storage warehouses at the city docks, government buildings, and industrial industrial factories. A far cry from the first game's maze-like ruins, magical wizard compounds, and nonsensical demon houses. And the layouts of Thief 2's missions are anything but maze-like. Lots of square floor plans that are fairly easy to navigate. However, looks can be deceiving, as Thief 2's missions are dripping with secrets and hidden alternate routes, designed to be taken advantage of by the most clever and observational of players. Easy to approach, hard to master.
I sprung the lock on the side door for you, Garrett. It's the only good way in.
The first mission is a great example of this. Garrett has been hired by Basso, a returning character from the first game, to rescue the love of his life from her indentured servitude. And of course, Garrett helps him out of the goodness of his heart.
I make it a policy never to take a job so sentimental, but the Rumford Manor could be a lucrative opportunity for a man like me.
The mansion you sneak into is comprised of 2 floors, with your main objectives being in the basement. However, those playing on hard or expert will have a loot requirement to complete, and the majority of this mission's loot is located on the upper floor. And so, many first-time players, me included, will sneak up the stairs, contend with the patrolling guards and electric lights to get their hands on the loot. However, if you search the basement thoroughly enough, you might come across a tucked-away dumbwaiter, which will bring you right up to the dining room right next to some gold-plated dinnerware. From there, if you grab this and a few bits of loot on the ground level, you can knock out this objective without ever needing to go to the second floor. Mission 3 is another fine example. Garrett has to sneak into the city's police precinct to plant evidence against a corrupt lieutenant. The precinct is basically a castle, with floor after floor of patrolling guards and security checkpoints with its key objectives in hard-to-access towers. It's kind of a nightmare to get through, assuming you don't discover the many secret passageways running through the building, which will take you pretty much everywhere you need to go, and keeps you away from the guards. Thief 2 is all about thinking outside of the box, not settling for the most obvious route, but seeking out the hidden, unassuming ones, and tackling tough situations in your own unique way. You can't help but feel like you're breaking the rules, somehow finding a way to circumvent the level designer's original intention. The perfect mindset for a game about stealing stuff. The game is a series of aha moments, but also plenty of dope moments when you inevitably discover an easier solution for a difficult scenario you spent way too much time on. But it does make for a lot of replay value. I often say immersive sims can't really be appreciated until you go through them multiple times, and man oh man is there a lot of different ways you can go through Thief 2. Thief 2 features plenty of missions all about stealing stuff, but the game isn't shy about switching up your objectives. As discussed before, Mission 3 sees you planting evidence, but Mission 4 has Garrett escaping an ambush and outrunning the authorities in the city streets. One mission has you tailing a city official, while a later one has you kidnapping a mechanist leader. There's even a 2-parter mission where you have to scout out a ginormous mansion, mapping out its interior and discovering all of its secrets so that you can take advantage of them in the next mission when you have to break in and steal a bunch of masks. Mission Impossible style. Thief, 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 thief. It's great stuff. Thief 2's missions are massive, impressively massive. One late game mission has you breaking into a huge mechanist tower by way of the rooftops, and these rooftops you have to get through are freaking dense. There's apartments and offices you can discover and loot. You can run into a couple of other thieves trying to break into a home. There's a necromancer's tower where you can accidentally summon the dead, because why not? And these guards talking a little smack.
How dare you defile the name of someone so good and virtuous as the Lady Van Vernon?
I mean, there's all this stuff you can explore and interact with on the way to your actual mission, and once you get to the tower, you discover it's this 6th-floor behemoth full of rooms and guards, and this weird little thing. Oh god, what are you? And there's no loading screens breaking this all up. It's one big level. Say what you want about Thief's engine, but man could it pump out some geometry.
You got too far this time, you camel-mannered, tunic-wearing mollycoddle!
Graphically, the game isn't a huge leap forward from the first game, but it is an improvement. Levels have a little more detail in their geometry and more texture variety. Thief 1 had a habit of letting parts of its levels be desolate and monotonous, but in Thief 2 this is less of a problem. And character models look a little more improved over the last games with more realistic looking textures. But their alert animations still look goofy as hell. Come out, wherever you are. And of course, the first game's dark, oppressive atmosphere returns better than ever, with its eerie, ambient soundscape.
And the carving.
Being this was my first playthrough and I didn't know what I was doing, many of these levels took me hours to complete. For the most part, it's a very satisfying thing. There's a huge feeling of accomplishment spending hours on a level and then figuring it out to where you can get through it with no kills and no alarms. But then there are some levels that can feel grueling to get through.
Hey!
Thief 2's later levels can get incredibly complicated, often giving you quite the laundry list of objectives that can be scattered throughout these very large maps, and completing them takes a lot of patient trial and error. It can be an exhausting game, and there were plenty of times I would just say to myself, Jesus Christ, when's this mission gonna end? See, pacing was a consideration of developers in the late 90s, early 2000s, but it didn't hold as much weight as it does today, and developers were more than happy to cram as much into their games as they could, which is the right intention, give the value to the player, something of a lost art these days. But as much as I adore this game, I don't think it would have hurt if some of these missions were either cut or lessened in scope. It's the editor and me talking, but I just think the game is too long and drawn out at times. It's really the one negative I have for an otherwise superb experience. Well, that and the combat still sucks.
My stride interrupted, my thoughts untimed.
In terms of story, Thief 2 sticks to familiar ground, but does much to further its world as well as its main character.
Nice poem.
Not poetry, prophecy. The Metal Age is upon us.
The plot is still conveyed through cutscenes, either through animated still images or by a mixture of animation and live action. Despite the age, I found the cinematics to still be excellent and very creative, channeling the dark, hardcore industrial metal vibes common of the 90s. And the story, while not mind-blowingly different from the first games, is still enjoyable, full of twists, and ultimately sees our Garrett more comfortably accept a heroic role.
Some people in this city are too rich for their own good. Lucky they have me to give them a hand.
However, cutscenes are only one part of it. While the main plot is always front and center, it's the little details and sub-narratives found in each mission that really paint the picture of Thief's universe. At the beginning of Mission 7, you sneak through this one guy's house while he's sleeping and find a box on his table which holds a gold diamond ring. Next to the box is a note to his girlfriend, apologizing for all the work he's put in with the mechanists, but promising that he will build a fulfilling life for the both of them with all of the knowledge he's gained, and of course, that he loves her. I stood there for a good few minutes debating if I really wanted to steal this guy's wedding ring. It was ridiculous. A JPEG told me some emotional stuff about a lumpy polygon and now I feel guilty. That right there is the beauty of video games. Well, I need the gold, so tough break, Ekam. I'm just gonna take your candlesticks too while I'm at it. Yoink. And because Looking Glass focused on all of the missions featuring these little sub-narratives in both Thief 1 and 2, when you put them all together, what you get is a world that feels tangible in the player's imagination, which is one of the big reasons I think Thief has endured in people's hearts for so long. It's easy to get immersed, which for any immersive sim is paramount. Greatest stealth game ever made? I think you can make a strong case for it. While I might have my nitpicks about the game's pace, it's hard to deny that even 20 years after release, Thief 2 can still stand toe-to-toe with today's best stealth offerings. Thief 1 is a classic, but Thief 2 is timeless. If you are a stealth fan and haven't played any of these games before, do yourself a favor and download them through GOG or Steam. They are often on sale and run impeccably on modern operating systems. But hey, what do you guys think? Do you agree with my assessment of Thief 2, or do you think I'm a little off? Let me know in the comments. Real quick, if you enjoyed this video, please click that like button, hit subscribe, and share with your friends. It is a huge help for this channel. Did you like this video but missed my one on Thief the Dark project? No worries, here's the link right here. I post videos every Thursday, so be sure to ring that notification bell so you are the first to see them. I'm Kirk, and thank you for watching this video. Stay safe out there.